Hey artists, so in the previous slides, we kind of basically reviewed 3 versions of an optical illusion. What I think those slides and worksheets did really well was explain the process. However, I don't think they adequately explain alternating pattern. So what I want to go over is just a really quick review of creating an alternating pattern within your optical illusion. So this one is spray. That's the first option I showed you guys. Spray starts with a vanishing point, and then from that vanishing point are radiating lines. And this one, the radiating lines are curved. What I want you to keep in mind is in order to make this an optical illusion, you want to create a bend that mimics itself so that it fills the page more adequately. Mine bends in this direction because you'll see that this line and this line are different, but they still have a curve to them. When you go to fill in an alternating pattern, what I want you to think about is a checkerboard, whether that checkerboard be black and white, red and white, or some variation of color. Generally, it's just 2. I'm going to do this one in black and white. What I do first is I fill with a dot. That way I can see that the colors do not touch side to side, okay? They can be corner to corner, but they can't be side to side, okay? So I go through and I go black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. And then I know that when I start to fill in, everything should be okay, and I shouldn't have any colors that touch. A dot is much easier to cover up than a huge section. What I want you to keep in mind as young practicing artists, even myself as a pretty experienced artist, I want you to practice pulling your color towards you. By pulling your color towards you, especially with a marker being mostly water-based, the air starts drying it almost as soon as it touches the paper. So as you're pulling, you're going to inevitably see the direction in which you pulled the color. If you start by coloring on the broad side of a conal marker, you are going to be able to color faster, but you're also not going to be super distracted by the striations of your paper. If you just start to do that zigzag and start to rush filling in the space, you're going to notice all those marks a lot more, harshly. And it's a little distracting for viewers, and not to mention yourself. So you want people to pay attention to what you drew, not how you drew it. And if they can fixate on a mark, especially an unintentional one that we make with color, it can be very distracting and upsetting, okay? So all I want you to keep in mind is if you're using marker to create your alternating pattern, pull in one direction, okay? Now, this same thing can be done with the exploding corner. If you want to, change it medium. So in this one, I'm using crayon. What I want you to see is that this one's going to lend itself to look like a checkerboard much more realistically, but I start in columns, okay? So I start in the very edge because it's the hardest one to color in, and I go orange, white, orange, white, orange, white until I reach the very end, okay? Then I start the next one, okay? So if this one's orange, orange and orange can't sit side by side. They can be corner to corner. So I know that this is going to go white and orange. What I'm going to go through is dot. So this is white, orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, orange. And then I fill in, okay? Now, once I have it, I can go ahead and color in. The dots, remember, they just allow me to see placement. It's easier to cover up a dot than a huge section. So then I can see that the orange don't sit side by side, but they do sit corner to corner. What I would recommend, if coloring is not your favorite thing, leaving a spot that's white might make this project a little bit more doable for yourself. I myself am probably going to leave a section white, but it's definitely not the only way to do the project. Having a second color can be really interesting. So I would start in columns or in rows, whichever is the easiest way for you to see. Mine is definitely the columns. And then I'd start here again, and I would go, since the starting piece is orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, and then make sure that I fill in the dots before I go in and actually color anything else in. That way I can see that it's corner to corner and not side by side, okay? Now, the last option was this one, Knockout. Knockout is definitely a fun one if you feel really comfortable with alternating pattern and you feel really good with vanishing point and those radiating lines, because it allows you to mix and match. So like I have some straight lines, then I have some wavy lines, and I have some blank sections where I could just add in shapes from small, medium to large and make it look like it's, you know, coming off the page. What I'm going to do is flip it so you can see this a little bit better. So this one I decided to use 2 colors, so you can do it like first one I did in marker, second one I did in crayon, and this one I'm going to do in colored pencils. If you want to do it, remember I do it in columns because then I can see that light colors are corner to corner but not side by side. And then I fill in my color and make sure that it extends to the edges of that shape. When you're filling these in, just work, like I said, work slowly. Make sure that you're trying to pull color in similar directions to fill in the shape so you're not distracted by marks. You want people to focus on what you've created, not how you created it. If they can find something to fixate on, people tend to. So remember the dots. The dots help you kind of create placement. Make sure you've got colors in the right spot to create an alternating pattern. If I was going to continue this, just so you can do a quick reminder, yellow can be corner to corner, but it can't be side by side. So then I know that this one, since if I'm starting at my vanishing point, this would be yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow. And then I go through and then I can go, yep, that would be right, because purple can be next to a yellow here. And then I can go through and color. You can do one column at a time or you can do multiples. It's just up to you, but I definitely recommend the dots so that you can see that the placement's okay before you go and start filling everything in, okay? So choose one of the optical illusions you feel the most successful with, whether it be the knockout, the exploding corner, or spray.